Welcome to the God Talk. I am your host, OlayDaGod, and this is the podcast where gods and goddesses come together discussing the businesses they have created and the moves that they're making throughout the rest of the year. Helping you out, giving you business tips to either grow or start your very own business. So tap in and let's get on with the show.
I was about to say, this is almost like I don't want to say a comeback, but it kind of is in a sense. But this is, for it being the first comeback as far as for myself in a way, digging myself out of a hole and reaching almost to the top or back at the equal state of where I was and just constantly moving upwards and forward. I feel like for you to be a part of that and just to even be here and to accept it and want to go along with it, it's nothing but love. I appreciate it 100%.
Peace, King. Absolutely. I do want to ask you a question, though. Diet is becoming very important in my evolution. You were one of the things that sparked that as well when we ate at that Mediterranean spot. And I mean, I was already, exploring my diet, and I just never was consistent with it. But we got the alkaline foods up here. Obviously, you are very serious about your diet.
Yes.
I personally feel like a diet is very important because that is stuff that feeds your foundation. And anything you build upon your foundation will crumble if it's not set. And a lot of times we have anxiety, depression, and we have all these excess of negative emotions because we're not consuming the right things. And obviously it's not just food, but food plays a very important part of it. You put gas in your car and the shit just starts glitching and just clutching and shit. That's not what it's supposed to do. Gas is meant to fuel your car so you can keep going. We're not meant to have the itis all the motherfucking time. No, ain't nothing wrong with having the itis every now and then. Ain't nothing wrong. Shoot, having a little banana pudding.
I'll say that.
Some bread pudding, got doggone. But you know what I mean? I'm finding that diet is incredibly important when it comes to not just my spiritual journey, just my journey in life overall. So how has diet played a role in your life and your journey?
So I started looking at food different. Back to changing the way you think. I changed the way I thought about food. It was not necessarily, all right, so I put it like this. Not only did I look at the food I was eating, I looked at why I was eating the food, what is the food I'm eating, and how. What is the reason for all of this? How many times am I doing this? Am I just doing this just because I'm hungry? Or am I doing this because I really need the nutrients? I need the energy. I haven't done something in a while. So it started with sea moss. I don't know if you ever heard of sea moss. But it's moss that's found in the sea, usually around Caribbean islands. A lot of times you'll find it around there. But I started with that. I did research on that and found out that our body needs 108 minerals every day in order to be good, to have a high immune system, and to be feeling okay with no problems, no issues. I realized your body needs 108 minerals every single day. Sea moss has 98 of them. So I was like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm taking like little tablets of sea moss, like for consistently, but I didn't know it had 98. That's wild.
Sea moss has 98 minerals that your body needs. So I started, a person I can shout out, Yaki of The Awakened. I Am Surviving Vegan on Instagram. I looked at a couple of these people and they were just like, yeah, Dr. CB, he's another one. The spring water that you take, the plastic that the water is in instead of using glass, you can live off just one meal a day. How to Eat to Live, another good book to read. How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad. I read up on that. Taught me how I can eat one meal a day and be good.
Right.
I started doing that where I would have one big meal, 6, 7 o'clock, and be good. It taught me as far as for breakfast. The original meaning for breakfast is to break that fast.
Yep.
So I was like, you should be fasting. I was like, I never knew what fasting was.
Yeah.
And then I realized, my body can go off food for like 7, almost up to a month.
Yeah.
To be good.
Exactly.
And I was like, dude, I used to overstuff myself. I'm sure I could probably go 2 weeks without eating and still be good. So I started fasting, started doing a lot more research. I fasted once I want to say for a whole day. Then I did it for like 36 hours. And that one fast kind of just showed me, like, you don't need this.
Exactly.
You don't need to overstuff this. And then I started looking more into the chemicals and I'm surviving vegan. She said something like the front is for presentation, the back is for information.
Mm.
And that's to actually know what you're eating. What are you putting into your body? And I realized, especially here in America, there's so many foods that are banned
in other fucking countries, bro. Yeah.
Gatorade, Skittles, chicken. Just because in America we put salt water in our chicken. In other countries they ban that. The food coloring that we use, high fructose corn syrup. A lot of that stuff that is banned in other countries are just like, why? What makes it so bad? Then I found out dairy, as far as black people, we're not supposed to have dairy whatsoever.
Really? Speak on that, bro. I'm not hip to that.
So as far as for black people, we are melanin.
Right.
I'm about to say, so we get our melanin as far as from the sun. We get it from a lot of different things, but our body naturally produces. Dairy is made as far as from another animal. And it's made from technically what dairy is lactate from a cow. And we should be only drinking our own lactate as far as our own milk. If there's anything as far as milk that we do drink, it's from ourselves. We shouldn't be drinking milk that's from a cow or anything. That's why a lot of people, as far as they say, be careful as far as breastfeeding, what you eat, because what you eat and drink, the baby is also producing that and getting that as well.
Yep.
So, you don't need anything else as far as that. And I realized the minute I cut out dairy, I stopped having breakouts. I would have a lot more energy, and it really was just breaking out of my face. Like I used to have acne, all bumps, everything, and that's what dairy is. Everything that you're putting onto, and that's what acne is in a way. Everything that you're putting into your body is being put out as far as for display.
Exactly.
So your body, you don't have so much of a negative thing. You've had so much of a dairy. You're doing it so much that now it's coming out in different ways.
Right.
It's not just coming out as far as in your natural bowel movements. Now it's coming out as far as your skin. Now it's coming out as far as in your breath, everything that you do. So I cut it out. I saw a couple other people talk about it and say we're not supposed to have dairy, and I looked into it, and I was like, you don't truly know until you do it.
Exactly.
So I did it. I was like, I'm gonna cut it out. I'm gonna cut out dairy. I'm gonna cut out cheese. I already stopped eating meat for 2 years, so I was like, I'm gonna try to cut out dairy.
Okay.
Cut out egg. Cut out anything that's from another animal. Because I was. Minister Farrakhan said this as well. He said that eat meats. He's like, there's nothing wrong with y'all, but he was like, y'all are eating necessarily a dead carcass. You're eating something that's dead. So you wonder why you feel like you are dead inside. Or
because you're putting death inside you.
You putting death inside you. Then you're looking at what are the animals that you're eating. A lot of times, the only reason that lion is going out to eat, they need the protein and everything, but they eat something else that eats nothing but plants.
So they're eating life, and that's just the transformation of things.
Yeah.
A homeboy of mine, a bartender at Bender's Tavern, he's also a farmer. He grew up on a farm and he raises his own like cattle, pigs, shit like that. Mm. And he says the issue also with our food is, so with him, he kills them humanely. He raises them with love. He treats them with love. He makes sure they're well fed, feeds them life instead of death. And then he takes them around back. He soothes them. He pets them. And then he just kills them and shoots them.
Yep.
And then if you're just thinking about that and just looking at it for face value, you're like, wow, it's fucked up. But it's actually not, because he explained to me that what they do at these mass production corporations is they raise these cattle in unsanitary environments.
Mm-hmm.
They load them all up on this motherfucking big ass truck.
Mm-hmm.
They have anxiety. And what happens when you have anxiety? Your heart starts to pump. It happens the same way with cows and pigs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
All that's pumping throughout their system, and it's toxins going throughout their system. And then you take them to the slaughterhouse. Now they're just killing them one by one.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a hurry. Their fight or flight response is going.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of just adrenaline and toxins are just flooding their system. And that's what's going into our bodies.
And you're putting that back into your body.
And not even to mention that most of the food that you get from the grocery store is at least 3 months old.
Yep.
So you're eating just a professional mortician's paradise.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. And that really was a light bulb for me too, because the way I looked at it was more so on like a emotional, mental, spiritual level. You know, obviously physically if you're going to physically put something in your body, physically this is going to come out. Acne, obviously, the way you smell,
mm-hmm.
the way you do anything is going to be a little bit less of aliveness because you're putting death in your mouth. But it also translates to your mood, and your mood a lot of times can dictate your life. Mm-hmm. If you're not lively and vibrant, if you're not living with that vibrancy and that vibration, that higher vibration, then you're always going to be wondering what's wrong. Mm-hmm. However, the thing is, we just don't have the knowledge. We don't have the access to that type of intelligence. We just think that, no, this is just how life just is. Life. I hate when people say, yo, life is stressful. Life is just terrible. And this is just how the world is. And people are fucked up. This is an evil, evil world. I get that. And I'm not saying to put that shit to the side. I'm not saying to cast that out. Going back to what I said earlier, let's not just make a virtuous world. No, let's not put that to the side. But telling my guy, he's a part owner at Outback. I was talking to him the other night, and I was explaining to him. I said, my role, a lot of the times, is just to bring up the positivity within this world, right? Because we think that life has to be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. The only reason that it's stressful is because we're consuming the wrong things. Yeah. Where our diet is not beneficial, our environments are not beneficial. We have a lack of resources. Well, let's not even say that. We don't have a lack of resources. We don't have access to the resources that the government has, but will not give us. And I actually think
we're not aware of the resources even being.
Exactly. And I think one of the first things that needs to go into legislation, one of the first things is some type of regulation on diet. Because if you have a healthy country, now we can start coming up with sensible solutions, not right or wrong solutions, sensible solutions, because you're coming at it from a proper foundation, coming full circle with it. Your foundation is cracked and wobbly. Anything that we're building on top of that is going to crumble to the ground. If us as a people, as Americans, are malnourished, all of our solutions will be malnourished. Disease breeds more disease. Yes, and we're just pumping in more diseases by a whole bunch of traumatized and broken people. And not just traumatized and broken by experience, traumatized and broken by diet. Yeah. Diet, I think, would, just like working out, I think that would be, I would say 80%, I say 75% of our problems here in America. Oh. That is 75% of our problems. And then we could take care of the other 25, I ain't gonna say with ease, but easier.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like, don't get me wrong, you're gonna have your pushbacks, or you're gonna have some of your pushbacks with your diet, but it's not just your diet. I feel like you need to fast with everything.
Yeah.
And be careful of what you are consuming. That's the biggest thing. Like, this world is filled with consumers. And that's how the world was, this is how this America was made to be. Everybody consumed. But nobody is really stopping to think, okay, what is it am I consuming? Why am I consuming this? as far as watching something, why do I need to watch this? Like you said earlier, I felt like you've already learned, or you know that, okay, this is what I need to be doing.
Exactly.
I know that I've heard all the speeches and motivation. I've taken that in, and now I need to actually do the work.
Exactly.
So I feel like that comes with everything. What you're watching, what you're listening to. Music has a frequency. Everything has a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Down to
music is a tough one for me personally because I'm a big hip hop head, and I love that grind. Like I love all types of hip hop and R&B. You know what I mean? But it's tough because man, I do like my Lil Waynes. I like my motherfucking shit talkers. You know what I mean?
Of course.
But I think once again, everything in balance. Just like I don't think we need to get rid of fast food, but growing up with my grandparents, they said we can have fast food once a week. I don't think that we should have fast food once a week, personally. But using that ideology, once a week we have fast food. You don't eat fast food all the time because that's when you'll end up sick and malnourished. You make sure that you're cooking your food and you are eating regular food more than you're eating fast food.
Yeah.
Same thing with I guess you could say rap.
Yeah.
Just regulate it, because let's appreciate the art form. But let's not listen to that all the time.
Yeah,
I'm much more of a soulful listener, R&B. Once again, I'm an old man. I like to listen to R&B music. I like to listen to nice piano keys, jazz, flutes. I like to listen to people talking about real shit, the real experiences, not just death and drugs and trauma.
Yeah.
Lecrae, I keep going back to my guy Lecrae. Shout out Lecrae, boy. Hopefully I can meet you one day. He said that a lot of these rappers these days, and how the machine is operated on, rappers' coping mechanisms is through trauma responses. So it's through drugs, money, and pussy.
Yep.
So what we do is we preach this level of success through drugs, pussy, and money.
Mm-hmm.
And our youth is catching hold of it. Not just our youth, our middle youths and our higher elders are listening to it too. So we're preaching this false pretense on what success looks like. Mm-hmm. Not understanding when these rappers at the end of the day, they lay down and they go to bed, they are dying of overdoses. I love Mac Miller to death. I love Michael Jackson to death. But I mean, like, we ask these questions. I've heard this question my whole life. Why is it that people have all this money and they end up killing themselves off drugs? Well, because they follow the ego's desires to its fullest. Mm-hmm. And they fell down into the, I don't remember the name. It's a Hindu word for hells, but when you chase, you essentially are chasing sensual pleasures. That's something that Lecrae talked about too. He said we chase, debauchery, right? Ooh. The excess indulgence in sensual pleasures. So once we chase pleasure to its highest maximum, you cannot go anywhere higher but down. Yeah. And once you're done with all those highs, with the money, the pussy, and the weed, the cars, just all these things that are telling you you're successful, what do you have? You don't have anything because you have no connection with self. You're trying to chase pleasure instead of being pleasure.
Mm. Yeah, Mac Miller was a tough one for me because I don't really follow any celebrities. I'm about to say because they're root word for celebrities. He celebrated. I don't feel like anybody should be good as far as of that nature.
Put on that pedestal.
Yeah, put on that pedestal in a way. Especially as far as into that industry. The industry it's got its devilish ways.
Yeah.
But Mac Miller, I felt like him, Nipsey Hussle, Mac Miller was showing me that his last albums had self-care on it. It was a lot of songs.
His growth was amazing, man.
Oh man, he had a lot of songs that was like, I'm trying to do that. I wanna elevate. I'm starting to love myself more. And the Nipsey Hussle made me want to hustle and motivate. That Victory Lap album, Hustle and Motivate, that's one song I still listen to, especially when I'm even in the gym. Because even though not everything that's being said is what you really want to go by. But in a sense, just the hustle and motivate terms, I let that resonate with me 100%.
The spirit of the music is with you.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel that vibration, but that goes back to XXX he was saying that everything, I could put a music at a certain hertz and that would make you motivated. I could put I could make a song that's at a certain hertz, or I could have a song that has nothing but 808s in it. It's your root chakra and makes you feel sad, makes you feel depressed, makes you feel like make you feel amped up, make you want to go crazy. Like, that's what a lot of the music does. So I be careful now I listen to a lot of spiritual music. It's Free Soul. Like I say, if nobody ever listened to them, look them up. Free Soul, E-Rock the Minutes, Spiritual Tony. These are some people that's give that Lauryn Hill vibe. That's giving nothing. They're talking about nothing, even though it's got a nice beat to it. It still sounds good. But they're constantly like, yes, love yourself, spread love. Why would I be negative? Why would I do this when I love myself?
Exactly.
Why would I do this to the opposite of me if I love it? Why am I putting this in my body if I love myself? Knowing that's gonna make me at a lower vibration. Like, it's great music, some really good artists. I like D-Rock the Menace, one, just because he puts some of his music in hertz. And you can feel it. Like, you can feel your root chakra being touched. You can feel your heart chakra being touched. You feel what they are trying to display into their music. So I say that's a big thing. And it goes back to consuming. As far as your diet, you gotta I feel like you have to have a diet with everything, not just food.
Yep.
A diet with what you're consuming as far as entertainment wise. Are you constantly looking at stuff entertainment? And my thing is, at what point do you produce something? I feel like we're so heavily into consuming, we get lost in consuming. We get into this trap where now we just want to consume. Now we want to be greedy. I'm eating 3 times a day. I don't care what it is. I just know I need to eat something. I'm hungry. Exactly. I'm going to watch all the TV. I'm listening to all this music. You know what I mean? I do none of it. I'm gonna listen to this because it's making me just feel good. It's nice. It's the sugar.
But it also goes back to stimulation. We are violently addicted to stimulation right now.
Yes.
We always have to be doing or consuming something. We are a nation of consumers. Mm-hmm. I realized within myself, even always feeling like I had to have something on. Mm-hmm. And then anything in excess is too much.
There we go.
And I was, for a brief minute, this was actually something very recent, I was taking a break from just music because I felt like I was living vicariously through my music. I was internalizing it too much. Like, what I do in my spare time, cutting music on. You know what I mean? I'm used to that stimulation of my brain because music lights up your brain more than anything else in this world. Music is incredibly spiritual, but like most things in modern times, all things that are divine and heavenly, they're being talked about in a mundane way and they're being acted upon in a mundane way. Yes. Weed, I believe, is one of those too, but we can get into that another time.
This episode of the God Talk is sponsored by Musically Game. For any of your music or gaming accessories, shop at Musically Game and use the code God Talk to get you 15% off. Back to the episode.
Right. So the point that I was getting at, that's why I sit in silence. I don't do it every day. Once again, I'm completing my 7, but I'm starting to create new habits. I'm changing my default mode, and I did it today. I just sat in silence, and I didn't want to intake anything because we go through a withdrawal period whenever we are in balance or we are overusing anything. Yes. Withdrawals isn't just with drugs. Withdrawals is with anything in excess. Mm-hmm. So when you have to take a break from those dopamine spikes and that stimulation. Take a break from social media. Because the thing about these things, they're not inherently evil. We just don't know how to use them.
Yes, that's exactly.
Everybody likes to preach that you got to stop doing this. No, it's not that you have to stop doing it. You have to change your relationship to it because you got to understand it's not the thing is the problem. It's your relationship to it, because you are feeling everything in this life from inside your body. I can't feel what you feel like inside your body. I can't feel really the music. I can feel it internally. Like if I dap you up, like we dapped up like 50 million times today. Yeah. I don't feel your hand. I feel the sensations of inside my hand as a result of touching your hand.
There you go.
So once you get in tune with yourself like that, and you reach the point where you are taking those steps to understand, okay, so it really is, I'm just experiencing me the entire point throughout life. It's me and God inside of here.
Yes.
That's the point where we get to, the point that we've gotten to. And then just to touch on what you said about producing more than you consume, that touched me, because my homeboy, Preston, that's something we used to say in college. You know, we used to say produce more than you consume, but consume as much as you produce, because that's, when you have an excess of consumption, going back to what I was just saying, it has a stagnation of energy. Yep. And one fundamental law of life is energy is never destroyed or created. It's only transferred, yep. Right? So when you stagnate that energy and you're not allowing it to be transferred, you're just consuming, you're not giving anything out. Mm-hmm. You are going to be stagnated. You're going to be stuttering on an energy level.
Then you got mixed emotions of all kinds of energies. You haven't let anything out. You haven't transferred it anywhere. And all of that mix. And then that's why one minute we happy, the next minute we sad, one minute we got anxiety, next minute we got depression. And then we want to do something. Now we're looking to consume something else to relieve it.
Exactly.
Instead of trying to go ahead and what caused that? Let me go ahead and transfer that out into something else, remove that from myself, and now let's do something else that's going to make sure I don't get that again.
Well, let me ask you something. How do you deal with sadness and anger? How do you let that out of you? Because it's necessary to let those things out of you.
I see every emotion as what it is, an emotion.
Right.
So I do have my way. As far as like letting go of anger, I'll stick with anger. As far as letting go of anger, I would say working out. I used to go to rage rooms. That was really nice to let go of some anger. But now I don't really work out or do anything like that as much. Really, I just sit and understand. Like, okay, something is triggered. Something is really making me upset. Something is getting me to the point of anger. And instead of reacting,
so you let it out through an internal level. You meet it head on.
Yes, I'm aware of it. I accept it. I take it in, and then I base my reaction off of that. I go through like a choice analysis. Really. Once I realize, okay, I'm being angry, I'm being triggered at this moment. I don't like this. I can do one of two things. I can either let this anger out on the problem or what I think is a problem that's causing the anger, or I can accept this attitude, accept this emotion, and transfer it somewhere else and decide where to go. So almost like taking it as far as, instead of taking it as a negative, I treat it as more of a wisdom. Mm-hmm. So something gets me upset. Somebody calls me out my name. Somebody says something mean. My first thought may be like, well, you don't know me? Like, what makes you think that? Like, first of all, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
You get these hands right now. Another part of me would be like, what is that even going to solve?
Yeah.
Well, you can't control as far as what somebody else may say or do. You can only control as far as how you react.
Exactly.
So why in the world would I putting myself in a more harmful situation by just reacting to something because of the emotion I'm feeling? Or am I doing something that's actually helping? Now, there's nothing wrong with defending yourself.
100%.
I defend myself, defend some other people, especially my loved ones. But I'm not about to be defending myself over something that's not really defensive.
Over trivial matters.
Yeah.
I was in a situation actually at work on Monday. My homeboy, it was a situation at work. I'm not going to go into it because, I don't want to cause any drama. But It was my homeboy, bro. And He just did something stupid. I was really busy and I got a little hot headed, but rightfully hot headed because he was kind of laughing it off and kikiing. And I was just like, bro, you got to tighten up. You know what I mean? Tighten up, bro. We working right now. You over here playing and singing and dancing. You gotta tighten up, my dog. You know what I mean? And then, I asked him to do something for me and he was just like, he started flipping out on me. And I'm like, okay, so first of all, this is not what you're going to do. Yeah. You're not going to sit here and talk to me crazy. You're not going to sit here and when you're 100% wrong, come at me out of pocket because you don't know how to take constructive criticism. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed, I might have to take a couple steps back from this person because what a lot of people want these days is not a friend, they want a neighbor. Yeah. I'm a real nigga, man. I'm a friend to you. And if I feel like you need to hear something, I'm going to tell you. And it always comes from a good place. Yeah. Am I perfect? No, but it's going to come from a good place. But instead of him saying, okay, my homie told me I need to get on it. So like he telling me I might need to listen to him. He just ends up making absurd points about how what you're trying to say, what I'm saying doesn't make sense. When what you're saying really doesn't make sense and you're just being defensive and you're getting in your feelings and you're getting sad and emotional and angry when I'm just telling you what you need to hear. And if you're not prepared to hear it, then we don't need to be friends because I'm not one to babysit your feelings. I will listen to you if you have a problem come and talk to me about. But in terms of me telling people what they need to hear, I'm going to just unapologetically tell you. And if you can't handle that, we can't be friends. And I mean, at the end of the night, I ended up going to him. I told him how I felt. I was like, look, this is the situation. This is why I said what I said. This is what it was. I feel like you were wrong in this completely. Yeah. And, he didn't express the same communication levels or skill. But the thing that taught me, though, is something that, because I was proud of the way I handled that. Good. It reinforced the belief that, for lack of better words, whenever somebody has a problem with you, it has everything to do with them. So his problem with me was due to his lack of maturity, his lack of connection with self, his lack of leadership within himself. Mm-hmm. And then I started connecting the dots with everything I know about him. And I was like, it's okay. Yeah. Now, instead of me being angry at you, now I just, metaphorically pray for you. I didn't really pray for him, but I'm like, okay, I understand that that's just the vibration you operating on. Yeah, now and I'm going to leave you at your vibration. And I'm going to sit here and vibrate at mine.
And then that's why I say real is rare. And it's funny you say that, but that's kind of how my family comes to me now. Because ever since just me going through the spiritual journey, I always tell people, if you don't really want to know the answer, especially coming from me, don't ask me. Yeah. And I'm like, are you sure you want to? I'll say, are you sure you want to know the answer? Because you might not like what I'm about to say.
But same here.
It's going to be it might seem hurtful, but I'm just being real. And real is, we so used to not having that and people just trying to be yes men. Oh, it's okay. It's all right. No, I'm going to tell you straight up. Listen, what you did, and then from what you told me, that wasn't a good thing to do. And you know that wasn't a good thing to do.
Exactly.
And here's the way to make
you trying to attack it on the outside level, but you're not understanding that you're contributing to the problem. So instead of bitching about what they're doing, what you're doing is allowing this to happen. So maybe you should change something within you. And I tell people, and people tell me that I come across kind of disrespectful at times, which I know I do. I'm working on it, but I can't sugarcoat my spirit. Yeah. I can't, because when I sugarcoat my spirit, I end up having anxiety because I'm trying to filter my response.
Yeah, because you're trying to make it, and not really.
And I refuse to do that. Yeah, no, going forward.
I'm not about to cater to your emotions. Just because you don't have full control of your emotions, like me, I'll understand it. I completely understand how you work, and you may not be the same level that I'm at as far as in control of my emotions and seeing it. But since you are coming on to me, or since I'm involved in this, I'm going to tell you how far as I see it. And because it's so rare, it doesn't happen a lot, and we're so used to people just, oh, it's gonna be better. Yeah, you could have made this, but man, you still did like, all right. It's still that little bit of comforting a little bit.
Yeah.
And some of us, we need to be uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
You got to be uncomfortable in order to level up.
And it's not to say that you don't take that time to give people the shoulder to cry on.
Of course.
Because you have to do that. It's very important for us as men to understand that too, going into the divine feminine. You have to be able to understand that life is hard and not everybody can just power through it. And we've had to understand on an internal level about that too. However, this generation is a generation of nothing but trauma responses. And all they want to do is have a therapist, metaphorically, to tell them that everything's going to be okay and you'll be all right. And it's a whole bunch of crybabies that want to be coddled like babies. But no, I'm sorry. It's a point where you can't just sit with your trauma anymore.
Yeah.
It's time to move forward to the healing aspect. And I know we're running a little long here, so I'll just end it by saying this. What I do, what I'm finally feeling comfortable with doing, because I'm white and black. I get called a light skin, I get called a white boy when I say shit like this. But I'm gonna say it, and I'm gonna just say it. The way that I approach us as black people now is from a healed perspective. Going back to what I said, you got to be okay with the racists of the world. You have to understand that you have to connect with yourself. Fuck what society has done to us. If we're going to flip that switch, no legislation is going to give that to us. Eddie Griffin said in one of his stand-up specials, Freedom of Speech, he said, freedom is not something you buy on aisle 12. It's a state of mind. It's a state of being. If you want to be free, you can't march for that shit. You just are free. And that's the fundamental thing we as black people have to understand in America. We are not going to be given freedom. And it's not even something that you fight for. It's something that you connect with internally. We're so busy trying to fix the world. And this goes from black people, just people in general. We're so busy trying to fix the world and create this virtuous world. Yet we have no connection with ourselves.
Yeah.
Something I've been talking to a lot of people about these days. I said, I don't think we need to be going to space. I don't think we need to be trying to advance technology. Because why is it that I can have an iPhone and can do 1,000,001 things to me, but I don't have peace of mind?
There we go.
Most people do not have peace of mind, but yet we have an iPhone. We're the most comfortable generation, but yet we're not connected with ourselves. Yeah. We're the worst mental-wise, saddest mentally, depressed mentally, anxiety-ridden mentally, because we're not connected with ourselves. We have all these outside conveniences, but we don't even know how to enjoy them. So in other words, we're so evolved, so on, quote unquote, but yet we can't even enjoy our evolution. So for that, to me, means we have an empty evolution. It's futile evolution.
Okay. Hey, I like how you ended on that one. That's a word right there.
My dog.
That's a word right there.
I'm up the dog. It's like, what, about the 15 dap or some shit?
I love it. You know, ain't nothing but love. I love it. I'm glad you came on. Glad to have you today. I'm glad to have this conversation. Might have to split it up into two, but this was great. I'm glad. So you said everything you needed to say. You got about your business. You got your podcast. I want to have the other guys on here at some point.
Of course.
Tell everybody about, say, where to follow you, where to listen to you, get more about, say, anything else.
Absolutely. So once again, follow me at Instagram, Kjng Sage, KJNGSAGE. Got a lot of exciting stuff going on. I'm going to be starting to throw events for parties and for a bunch of other things. I'm not going to let everything out because I want to manifest it within myself. But just know events are coming. Just know that I'm working very hard on my clothing apparel, and furthermore, just spreading the whole label and the whole motto of I am royalty everywhere. My book is something that I'll be working on for a while. I look forward really to sharing that, not even just with strangers, more so with just people that know me and that have shared this journey with me throughout my 25 years on this earth. So I'm extremely excited about the book. Peace of mind. That's what I'm really pouring a lot of energy on right now. Me and my guys Coop, follow them at King Coop, KingKoop. And then Jarrell Kemp at JERRELL.KEMP. Follow my guys, follow the podcast, Peace of Mind, PIECEMIND. Peace of Mind, you know what I'm trying to say. 888 at the end of the username. Follow us on YouTube. We're about to have a new season coming up. We have a lot of exciting guests coming up. I ain't gonna say nothing right now, but we planning some big shit. Production is stepping up. Audio is stepping up. Topics are going to be out of this world. Brother, we gotta get you on, man, especially after the synergy that we just innately have, man. We gotta have you on, man. But please tap in. My last message, if anything, just connect with yourself. Nobody can give you the answers but yourself. Life is not a question to be answered. It's a question to be lived. And you are the source of all that. You are the God. You are the goddess that is behind everything that is in front of you. Tap in to you.
Yes, I love it. There you go. That's the God talk. Like, subscribe, comment. You know what to do. Share this with everybody. And more gods and goddesses that have talks like this. I appreciate it. Peace.
Again, thank you for tapping into the God Talk, and stay tuned for plenty more to come. Peace.